The tricks, the tips, just apply them, just use them, just deploy them and get the results you want when it comes to propagation. The tricks, the tips, just apply them, just use them, just deploy them and get the results you want when it comes to propagation. Let me tell you something else also. This is not just Bougainvillea, any other plant. These tricks would be useful on the conditions I was dealing with. I'm here in Dubai, so I'm dealing with a temperature which is upwards of 45 degrees Celsius. All right, rain, there was no rain. Pot, I used small cups because I wanted to give these away. All right, that's another major factor for me to go with small pots. What about the sun? I had kept out of those 180 in the shaded area, but outside in my balcony. 20 I kept indoors, but on the window shelf. There was sun for 2-3 hours. Outside there was shade, but they were out in the open and they were dealing with the temperature. So I'll tell you all about it, how those 80 performed, how those 20 performed, which were outside and inside. Alright, so this video will be very interesting because I assure you I tried all the conditions and I was dealing with harshest of them. Let me give you 15 things, kind of a set pattern for you to follow. Alright, if you don't have time, I got a solution. Just go to the description section below and you'll find everything there. Those 15 steps all explained fully, and don't forget to come back to the video also because theory is one thing, practical is different, right? So let's start. Number one, while choosing a Bougainvillea plant to get the cuttings from, make sure or check around or ask around that it's older than 3 years. Before that, those cuttings which you get from that plant won't work that well. Number two, you need to make sure the cuttings you get are brownish in color, not greenish. The cutting size is again important. The cutting size should be between 3 inches to 5 inches long. Alright, below 3 inches, above 5 inches, I'm not sure. My research has shown me that these numbers work, 3 to 5 inches in between that. Point number 4 is very critical. You see the smallest finger? The diameter of your cutting should be, now we come to point number 5, you need to scrape the bottom part of those cuttings before you pot them. How you do it, how long? It should be between 0.5 inches, half an inch to 1 inch, in between that. Go beyond that, you might destroy the cutting. Below that, you're not giving enough surface area for the roots to come out. Point number 6, you hear a lot about rooting hormones, fungicide, this and that. Simple. You have a kitchen, just walk into it, find cinnamon powder, bring it, make a solution with water, and yeah, the bottom part which you scrape for those cuttings, just let the cutting sit in that water, the solution, for like a couple of hours, and you're good to go, because it's the best rooting hormone you would ever come across, and it's the best fungicide you would ever come across. All right. Point number 7, very important, selecting a pot. It could be that you got like 5 cuttings, you want to pot them in one pot, or you want them separately potted in different pots. All right. Here is the thing about pots. Make sure a day prior or 2 days in advance you have soaked those pots with water. It's better because air cavities would go if you pre-soak the pot, and it would just give adequate conditions for the cuttings. Now, the pot could be transparent, it could be opaque, it could be translucent. It doesn't really matter. I've heard so much about roots grow in the dark. No. Your pot can be any of those things. All you need to make sure is, if the pot is really small, I would advise, after making this video, I realized I shouldn't have put a drainage hole, because the temperature outside, it's very humid, it's kind of hot, so I wanted my small pot to retain water, but I had made a drainage hole, so yeah, I had to water those cuttings once they started showing signs of rooting every couple of days. Alright, so if you are using a small pot and you want to avoid watering them quite frequently, just make sure you don't put that drainage hole. Alright, now let's talk about the sunlight. See, if there is sun for a couple of hours during the day, it doesn't really matter. But if the sun is shining on that cutting for more than 2 hours per day, there is a problem. So you got to make sure, see, the ideal situation is get a shaded place, put those cuttings there, keep watering them and forget about it. But if you see your balcony is small, your area is small, and there is no place else you could put those cuttings and there is sun, you got to make sure sun is not shining on those cuttings for more than a couple of hours. That's it. Otherwise, your hard work would go in vain and your cuttings would fail. Point number 9 is very critical. See, when you have potted those cuttings, you need to make sure of the schedule of watering. First couple of weeks, you don't have to do anything if it's in a shaded place. The reason is simple. Those cuttings, they have nutrients stored in them, sugar and everything else. So to come out with leaves, those nutrients would help the cutting. But if, let's say, after 2 weeks you see some leaves, so there has to be some root system developing also. So what do? You start watering it frequently. You need to, put your finger in the pot, and if it's not, wet, you need to water it. It's simple as that. The leaves would tell you exactly if they need water or no. So there are so many signs, but you need to pick those signs after, let's say after 10 days, you need to make sure you're watering them adequately. First 10 days, it doesn't really matter. Point number 11 is kind of related to the result of your cuttings. See, first couple of weeks you would see few leaves coming out here and there, which is great sign. Now, don't think that roots have developed, but roots would start developing once those leaves have come out and they start making food. Alright, so roots would follow. So the timeline, if you ask me, I would give you 15 days for the leaves to appear, and from that 15th day to probably 20 more days that you would see those roots. So repotting, why I'm telling you all this, repotting is important. Give at least good 2.5 months to your cuttings before you repot them. If you pluck them out within a month, I'm sorry, the roots are too fragile and you might destroy them. So point number 12, as I mentioned in my point number 11, is simple. My suggestion, give at least 3+ months to your cutting before you repot them or you take them to a different pot. Yeah. Point number 13 might excite you to start this journey. I assure you, within first 5 months, if you propagate a bougainvillea from a cutting, within first 4 to 5 months, you will have flowers. Why I'm saying this? Because let's say the tree you got these cuttings from, it's 4 years old, and normally bougainvilleas flower the whole year, but in autumn they come in their full bloom. So that cutting has all the making. It would not hesitate to flower even if it's like 4 months old, and so this is a great consolation for your efforts. If you use seeds to get the bougainvilleas, you won't see flowers before 2 years or 2.5 years. So there you go. You need to propagate bougainvilleas from cuttings because they are the most resilient plants ever. Whichever environment, whichever country you're in, they would survive. Point number 14 is not as such a tip, but I wish you good luck, and you need to feel good about getting those cuttings and doing the whole thing. You got to involve in the process because you would enjoy it. And if you have never done it, I assure you, watch this video carefully and you will be able to do it, and the satisfaction will be unmatched, unsurpassed. In fact, it would be extraordinary. Believe me, try it. Finally, point number 15. If you have any doubts, I think I have covered everything. Because whatever I tried recalling, whatever I was doing, I put it down on a piece of paper, and then I if there was anything I missed, I would add it, and now I'm bringing those to you. But the point number 15 is very simple. All you gotta do is, let's say you are in some country, unique environment, you're dealing with unique conditions. You can put down your questions in the comments below. I'll reply to you as soon as possible.
Everyone in Dubai, or for that matter in the UAE, please comment down below and tell me, why would you want these white bougainvilleas? And I promise you, if I'm in your area or you are in my area, you can pick them up or I can deliver them to you. Alright, the idea is pretty simple. I've got these cuttings and now I just want people to have it, people to raise them. So yeah, if you are in the UAE, especially in Dubai, just comment down below and get 2 white bougainvilleas until stock lasts.
I'm sure you love the effort, you love the videos. We can meet and I can hand these over to you. One more thing before we part ways from this video, that is, wait for another video within a couple of weeks when I give out these 100 bougainvilleas to people randomly. Let's say I am in the gym, I carry 4 of these, I find a friend, I give out to them, and I'll ask them to probably be on the video, say a few things about the gesture or the activity, whatever. But wait for that video, it will be fun, I can assure you that.